Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the No Ceilings NBA Draft Lottery live show. That is a mouthful, but we finally have some answers tonight in about 20-ish minutes. Once the lottery results start flowing, we will have a set draft order. All of the speculation and the lottery sims, we're done. We're going to have a concrete order in a few minutes. I'm Tyler Metcalf. Joining me tonight, Nick Agar-Johnson, Stephen Gillespie, Nathan Grubel. We got a squad tonight. We're going to previewing the lottery, reacting once results start coming in, talking some measurements that dropped earlier today, and then once we finally have an order, we're going to do a war room style lottery mock draft. We're just going to do the lottery, give everyone a taste of what we see or how we conduct all of our mock drafts throughout the year. And tomorrow morning, our full mock draft will be up, and the full video for No Ceilings Plus subscribers will be available later in the week. But that's in the future. First off, Nathan, how are we doing?
Oh, Metcalf, we're living the dream. This is a great Monday, man. Listen, stocks are booming. We have a draft lottery that's not at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock Eastern time that I can actually stay up for and participate in. Listen, this is one of the best Mondays I've had in a long time. I can't complain.
Steven, how are we doing?
I am awesome, dude. It's great to be here with you, gentlemen. Nick, I just want to say you rock. For everyone to know that you are just the absolute man, and I'm so psyched to be on a show with you. But in all seriousness, I'm excited for the lottery. Everything that has been going on today. Metcalf, I want to ask you a quick question. How funny do you think it is that the basketball community waited until everyone said that they were going to do like a lottery stream to drop all their measurements, like right before everybody was going to do a lottery stream?
I mean, it gives us a little bit of content to fill rather than talking about Con Knippel's oversized jacket. I love measurement when measurements come out, because everyone overreacts. It's like, oh my god, this guy only has a +5 wingspan compared to a +6.
Pathetic.
He can't be a rim protector. He's a bum. Oh, this guy's 6'4 and a quarter instead of 6'5 flat. He can't play. I love measurement season. It's the most overreaction to something that it's not meaningless, but it's about as close as it can be. Because, I mean, we just spent 7 months, if not more, watching these guys play basketball. And if your entire kind of viewpoint of a guy is going to come down to a quarter of an inch or half an inch on how he measured barefoot, I think you may be doing it wrong. But that's just me.
Here's another question for you, Metcalf. Which is more useless, the measurements day or this guy shot 13 of 25 on the 25 threes he shot at the combine?
Well, especially that one, because that's a horrible number. Yeah, I love that one so much too. And it's always some center every year, because these guys train for a specific drill for 2 months. And then, hey, turns out that when you do one thing over and over and over and over again, it helps. So, yeah, that one's always blessed too. Nick, how are we doing?
Well, you saying that as the Sacramento Kings 0.8% chance to win the lottery comes up on the screen, could have picked a better timing for that moment. But I'm excited. I mean, we'll finally know who's going to get the first overall pick and presumably end up with Cooper Flagg. And, once we see what the order is, we'll start to get a better idea of, how the rest of the lottery is going to go. So this is it. I mean, this is a big moment for a lot of franchises and a lot of fan bases right here.
So building off that sentiment, who are some of the teams that you think have the most at stake, who could really have their fortune swing one way or the other?
I mean, listen, Utah and Washington definitely need this number one pick, I think, more than a lot of other teams. I think Utah would probably be my number one franchise in terms of who actually needs this pick, because they're kind of directionless at the moment. They don't really have that quote unquote number one guy on the roster. Although I was looking up some interesting numbers before the show started, just kind of see where some of these teams fell in terms of quote unquote needs. Their front court was incredibly productive this past season with Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, John Collins. However, we don't know where John Collins is going to be next year. Walker Kessler's been involved in trade talks for a few years now, basically ever since he stepped foot in Utah. And Lauri Markkanen signed that extension. But again, who knows where some of these guys are going to end up, depending on, what team could land Giannis Antetokounmpo, what team could land Kevin Durant. Do teams potentially look the way of Lowry and try and re-engage with the Jazz on trade talks if some of those conversations fall flat? So despite them having something more to lean on in terms of proven veteran talent than a team like the Wizards would, or even the Hornets to an extent right now, they don't really have a direction to me that says, you know what, we have, if we don't get Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper in this draft, we're going to be okay. I think they do need to come away with one of those guys, in my opinion.
I mean, this is a bit mean given that we have Nathan on the stream, but I feel like it's obviously the Sixers that have the most up in the air tonight.
Nick,
I mean,
gosh damn it. You really just can't avoid it for like 2 seconds.
well, you know, see, here's the thing. Your favorite team and my favorite team are the two teams that have picks up in the air that might lose those picks tonight. The difference is the Kings have a 96% chance to not have their pick because it goes to Atlanta if it's not in the top 12. But that's like, you know, being 13th means you're at least in a theoretically slightly better position than being in 5th position. But with the Sixers,
you act like the
after
Sixers still have a great chance to get this pick when they've had so many unexplainable events happen to them over the last decade. You act like we're a shoe-in to keep this pick. I agree, it's not bad chances,
like
but
I'm not acting like that. That's my entire point, is that there is a chance that they don't end up with this pick, at which point that really does make a difference. D. Joda in the chat, did the Kings even bother to send a rep? Yes, they sent Keon Ellis, who was the one positive from the Kings season this year. So maybe they have a chance because Keon Ellis is up there. But no, I mean, you know, of the teams that are likely to lose their pick, the Sixers are more likely to hang on to it, but it's also more pivotal to their future than the 13th pick was ever going to be.
Go ahead, Steven.
Oh, okay. Hey, so there are a couple teams. If I'm going for a team that I feel like needs it a lot, listen, this isn't like the number one team, but I see someone in the chat mention the Raptors. Like, we think about bad, like, teams within the United States, I feel like more often than we do the Toronto Raptors. And, like, I think it would be really cool if we had a player there that we genuinely cared a lot about. And I think Cooper Flagg could be that person for the Toronto Raptors. I say we, like, as in the royal we, like, within the basketball community. I love the Raptors, so please don't DM me any hate mails
here on the stream.
I am, as for my job, I think that it would be actually pretty funny. But yeah, I think the Raptors would be one. But I care a lot about Cooper Flagg and, like, his success. So this might be on like the wrong way for me to think, but if he ended up in Houston or San Antonio, I think that would be pretty freaking cool. Like, I would like to see him tear it up on a good team instead of struggle for 4 or 5 years. And then I say, why can't he get any help? You know?
Yeah. And during the pregame, I guess we can call it, Jay Billis was talking about Cooper Flagg, and he described him perfectly, saying that he's one of these number one top overall picks who actually contributes to winning. And we've seen that throughout his entire basketball career. Not all top picks do that. Not all NBA players do that, but Cooper Flagg projects to be one of those guys who actually contributes to winning. And Steven, I kind of agree with you when I look at the lottery and who I think, you know, quote unquote deserves it, or is who is doing it the right way. The teams that stand out to me are now the Washington Wizards. Welcome to the party of competence and direction. And
you love to see it.
And the Houston Rockets, who have done the rebuild really, really well. So in terms of chaos, I think either of those places would be a lot of fun. And then kind of a dark horse sleeper here, I would love to see him land with Portland and what they're building with their length and their versatility on the wing end from a defensive culture, having Klingon, Flagg, Tumani, Denny out there together. That's really, really fun. And I think he could be that rare rookie piece to help take them over that hump and get them out of perpetual lottery and more into legitimate playoff conversations.
Well, Metcalf, I don't know if you've heard, but defense wins championships, and if that's the case,
right,
our own Tyler Rucker published his power rankings of chaos in the lottery today, and the Dallas Mavericks sitting at the top of that. I mean, boy, wouldn't that be a fun conversation to have over the next month?
They are probably the team that deserves them the least. Like, even over like publicly announced tanking teams deserve him over the Mavericks. They're just going to trade him. Like, they're going to wait till he's really, really good.
No, Steven, he plays defense. It's okay. They're not going to trade him. It's all good.
So from a deserving standpoint, the Mavericks organization deserves it the least. but the fans might deserve it the most for what they've had to endure the past 6 months.
I don't know.
They're
if
going to
you're
move
still
to
a
Los
Pelic-
Angeles or Las Vegas anyway. They're going to
Also,
have
if
a
you're
new
still
team.
a Pelicans fan, I think you deserve it more than Dallas because you've been suffering for a lot longer.
Do they have those?
Aren't they? Well, okay.
How funny is it that Zion, like, I literally laughed out loud when I found out that Zion Williamson was going to rep the New Orleans Pelicans today. What, like, that's funny to me because how many times has he been rumored to be traded and like not be invested in the team and all that stuff? Maybe this is like the start, like an olive branch, perhaps between he and the team. I found it hilarious that Zion was going to be repping the Pelicans.
Well, and from a Pelican standpoint, obviously when they won the lottery and drafted Zion, is one of the better reactions that we saw after the fact. I believe that was Alvin Gentry who went berserk in the draft or the lottery reveal room once they released that. But
it's a good thing he got to experience the Zion glow up too.
But I mean, from an on court standpoint too, I think New Orleans would be a really, really fun fit for Cooper Flagg, adding him to Trey Murphy and Herb Jones and Yves Missy and Zion, and that the athleticism and length that they continue to build there, I think would be really intriguing. But this is obviously the draft for Cooper Flagg, but I think we all believe that there's a lot of talent throughout this draft. And even if you don't hit that number one pick, you're obviously going to be disappointed, but you shouldn't be devastated. Nathan, who are some of the guys, if a team lands in that 2 to 4 range, the team should be really excited about? And do you have, at that number 2 spot specifically, do you have someone who is on an island of their own, like Cooper Flagg is at 1?
So what I would say is my top 5, obviously I have Cooper Flagg at number 1. I would have Dylan Harper at number 2, who I would have on a tier of his own. I don't do tiers in the traditional sense of how most people would in terms of, they have different tiers every single year for their big boards. I have a tier 1 through 8 system, which is tier 1 I would have as like an MVP caliber type player. Tier 2 would be like an all NBA type caliber player. I do have Dylan Harper in that tier 2 by himself. And then underneath him, I have some other guys like Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, and then Derek Queen right now rounds out my top 5. But if I was a team who landed anywhere in that top 5, I would be ecstatic to get any one of those guys, especially seeing how well some of these guys measured out today. We saw Dylan Harper measure out really well in terms of guard. He's above average guard size. We saw VJ Edgecombe come in at, I believe, 6'4" without shoes, if I'm correct. That's a really good barefoot measurement for him with the length to go with it. Ace Bailey, you're still getting to about 6'8", somewhere in between 6'8", 6'9" in shoes with his length and his ability to shoot over defenders. I love that measurement. And then Derek Queen, talking about 6'10", almost 250 pounds. I mean, he is a massive man. I think we've all been having conversations amongst ourselves. Is he going to be a center? Is he going to be a power forward at the next level? I think he has the tools, the ability, the mindset to play either position in the front court, depending on, which partner is obviously going to be sharing time with him, sharing the most minutes with him. So if I were a team, I'd be incredibly ecstatic to land one of those picks. And even past that, I know there's some Trey Johnson fans and No Ceilings, some Jeremiah Fears fans and No Ceilings. You go on and on. I agree with you, Metcalf. I even tweeted this out a little bit earlier. I've done a little bit of a 180 in terms of where I feel about the depth of this class. I do think even if you're not getting one of those quote unquote star players at the top, there's a lot of guys who are going to be able to be role players on good caliber teams for years to come. I really like where this draft class is shaping up.
And then Steven, in that back half of the lottery, obviously last year we saw a monumental and shocking rise with Atlanta jumping to the top pick, but typically those teams in the back half, we don't see a ton of movement. So with those kind of in that 10 to 14 range, is there anyone on your board who you think could really be a sneaky, like way overperform getting drafted in that range, who may be a little, quote unquote boring or something, but a couple of years from now, when we're looking at second contracts, he could be one of the best guys from this draft?
Yeah. And I think this is where, however you're doing your tier system, and Nathan, I would even think in yours, you probably have a wide swath of players somewhere between like 8 through the rest of the lottery range that you would feel good about landing anywhere from like that 8 through 14, 7 through 14 range. And that's where you can get a lot of value. I mean, CMB measured great from everything that we were hearing relative to what we thought he might measure to. I'm feeling very confident if I have a 6'8" shoes, Colin Murray Boyles on my team. And I would swing on that in a heartbeat with everything that he has. Rasheer Fleming, another guy who I have 11 on my board, but I know other people are a little bit lower, probably consensus-wise. Another guy that I think would be a very valuable get, depending on where you are with the Kmon Malawatch, conversation. I'm seeing him anywhere from, 5 to outside of the lottery. If he goes in that back half, you probably feel pretty good about it. Then you got Yegor Dimon, Kasper Giakashonis, Con Knipple, another name. I feel like we all love Neat Clifford. I think that he measured out pretty well, and he would be another guy I'd be comfortable with. And then you have guys who are screaming up boards right now. A player named Cedric Coward. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of him, but he is all the talk of the town recently. He is probably going to be the dark horse of this year's draft class, and his range is very, very exciting.
Yeah, it should be fun. Mark Tatum just walking up to the podium now, at least on mine. Apologies if I'm a little behind. All right, so at 14,
here we go.
San Antonio.
Okay.
So that's Atlanta's pick. So no change there.
I'm very curious to see how long this goes, Chalk.
Big moment, big moment, big moment.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Sorry, Nick.
It's fine.
It is what it is.
I knew this was going to happen.
Okay, so we're chalk so far.
Nothing crazy.
Modest, just over the moon excited about his Cooper teammate. Portland dropping a spot.
Oh
boy.
Okay.
You're
ahead of me.
Oh, Dallas.
No.
Dallas
You're ahead of me.
Here we go.
Top 4.
Here we go.
No.
Oof.
That's too bad.
Dallas being top 4 is interesting. Kind of makes you wonder if it's rigged,
So there's one jump. So the question is, if we get one more jump, the 76ers are out of it.
Raptors. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
There it is. Oh, what did I tell you, Nick?
The Spurs. Let's go.
How does Jared McCain not look anywhere near as depressed as Modest Bazelis? That just seems wrong to me.
Because Jared McCain's pumping his fist like, hell yeah, there's no other young guy to compete for my playing time when I back.
Man, Texas is cleaning up right now.
Oh my gosh.
New Orleans.
Oof. Wizards, big losers.
Wow. The Sixers, they jumped. Oh, baby. Oh,
Thrill of victory, the
so
agony
rigged.
of defeat from Nathan in like 30 seconds.
Oh, this shit is so rigged. It's fantastic. This is incredible.
Is rigged.
This is actually incredible, everyone.
Oh,
Oh!
no.
Oh,
Utah.
man.
What is happening?
Oh,
No.
oh, man.
There's a 75% chance you feel pretty good of where Cooper goes, at least,
Oh, that's
Listen,
rough.
guys, I don't care if we shouldn't be swearing on this. What the fuck did we just watch? What did
Okay.
we watch?
Wow.
Okay, so the top 2 teams dropping to 5 and 6. That's tough. That's really tough. I know we just talked about how there's
on
talent to
Sim.
be found, but tanking the way that they did, sucking as bad as they did all year, for this to be the result, not even end up with Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe. I know there's talent. We like a lot of players, but I don't think either of those teams are getting someone at that spot that they were anywhere near the caliber of where they're playing.
Let this be a
This
lesson.
is
That's
exactly-
unethical tanking. Yeah,
Yes.
unethical
This
tanking.
is what the NBA wanted. This
Yep.
is what the NBA wanted.
I swear to God, if the Mavericks win, I might literally puke live on stream. This is so wrong in so many different ways. Oh my God.
Okay,
But
go
the
ahead.
good news is, like I said earlier, there's a 75% chance that you feel pretty good about where the best player in this draft goes. Like if you are rooting, like what we were talking about earlier, Metcalf, if you are talking about you want Cooper to go where and go somewhere and succeed, him to have good teammates, even the Hornets have some guys that you feel pretty good about him playing alongside. You feel pretty good about Cooper Flagg's future prospects. The only place that I kind of worry about, Nathan, this isn't a shot at the team, but the pressure cooker of Philadelphia for him to be great early is going to be a lot if they keep the pick.
Why would anyone trust Dallas to do anything correctly at this point? No, I'm dead serious. Like
I agree.
Listen, guys. I think out of these 4 teams that are left, I do think Charlotte needs him the most. I really do.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I feel like
Yes.
they need some kind of defensive identity to kind of rubber band that thing together. We all are big fans of Brandon Miller. There's a ton of LaMelo Ball fans out there. Neither of those teams are captaining that ship on defense. Very well might be, even though Mark Williams did not get traded to the Lakers this past season, how do you repair that relationship? Is he possibly on his way out? Like, you
Cooper Flag
need that
probably
type of
helps.
leader. You need that type of leader on that team. And I think out of those 4 clubs, I mean, we could talk about how fun it would be to watch him play in San Antonio or even Philadelphia, but Charlotte really needs him.
Yeah, and the talent the talent addition with him is the obvious win. But kind of what you were alluding there to, Nathan, was the culture that he brings with him, the mentality, the work ethic. I feel like Charlotte is widely talked about as having one of the worst cultures from top to bottom for a long time. Obviously, new front office, new coaching staff and stuff this year, so hopefully that's trending in the right direction. But a guy like Cooper Flagg accelerates that immediately because he brings expectations, work ethic, intangibles that are incredibly rare for a rookie to do. And that's all we've heard about him his entire time through high school, at Duke. Everywhere he goes, he makes everyone around him better.
He sets the tone. Yep.
Exactly. I tend to agree with you.
But
in terms of need, Charlotte is the highest.
Wemby and Cooper.
In terms
Wemby
of
and Cooper would be sick.
in terms of league pass rate rankings, San Antonio's looking awfully fun.
Listen, guys, just picture this. San Antonio gets the number 1 pick. They take Cooper Flagg. Still have enough assets to go trade for Giannis on top of it. And you could have a front court of Cooper, Giannis, Wemby with Fox as the point guard. I mean, holy crap. Is that not some of the best television we could watch in the NBA next year? I mean, honestly, you would have to throw all the other chips at the table to go get Giannis if you're the Spurs if that happened. You would have to. How could you possibly turn that down?
And do you though? What if you don't?
I don't know if you do.
What if you
What
don't?
if you draft another?
I agree.
Pick, right?
What front court would be better defensively than that trio?
No, there
Like-
wouldn't be one. No, I agree with you from a basketball standpoint. I'd love it.
I mean,
But
going
is
back to
that
what
something the
Steven.
Spurs would even do?
You can only pay so many guys, though. Like, you can hold on to some of their boatload of picks that they have and some of their young guys. You can even be a Castle fan, but you can only pay so many guys. You have the chance to lock
Oklahoma
down.
City's doing it all right though.
I know, but you could lock down a megastar who's still 30 years old in his prime, one of the best players in the world, with a guy who can also become the best player in the world, with another guy who's going to be, if not a number 1 player himself, one of the best supporting players in the league. I mean,
They're back on, fellas.
All right, here we go. Also, quick shout out to everyone in the chat watching live.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate all you. All right, here we
There's
go.
a million places y'all could be right now, so appreciate y'all hanging with us.
Oh no.
the Charlotte.
Oh, you guys are ahead of me. Oh no.
Oh, this is just a kick in the cojones to
Oh, okay.
unethical
Okay.
tanking.
76ers.
Okay.
Note to teams, don't
God.
suck.
Guys, this could happen.
Oh, please.
Oh! No!
Oh! The Dallas
Oh my
Mavericks!
God.
The draft is rigged.
Oh, it's so rigged, guys.
It's
Holy.
rigged.
It has to be rigged.
Tell
that does
me
not
the
just
draft
happen.
isn't rigged.
That doesn't happen.
The
That
draft
doesn't
is so
happen.
rigged.
That doesn't happen.
This is just like the Zion draft. Everyone knew AD was out of town, and then they just traded the pick to get Zion. This is the exact same thing.
I'm sick right now.
Just being
Yeah.
rewarded for incompetence and bad process.
Nico Harrison knew that this was going to happen.
Okay. Cooper
He's
Flagg.
not going to get fired now.
Cooper Flagg, welcome to Dallas. from a basketball perspective.
Don't you mean Cooper Flag? Welcome to Las Vegas.
From a
Yes,
basketball
more like
perspective, how do we feel about it? Pairing Cooper Flag with Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Kyrie Irving.
I
You
mean,
can hate
Nico gets
Dallas
the
all you
defense
want,
he
but
wanted.
there's still
They're gonna be fun.
there's still a contender going into next season if Kyrie's able to come back around midway through the year and he's healthy. There's still technically a contender, even if you hate them for everything they did with the Luka trade. Like this is incredible. I can't believe this happened, guys.
I
I
don't
can't believe it.
I don't
We're
I don't
all at a
know.
loss for words.
I don't
believe this happened.
So
I don't
this
know
is
how to feel
back-to-back
about
years that a team slated at 10 or higher jumped to number 1. Dallas was 11 coming into tonight. I think Atlanta was 10 last year.
Yeah, Atlanta was 10. So yeah.
The era of the chalk lottery out the window. It's losing its home court advantage. It's gotten soft.
in line with the playoffs.
I still that 4 through 8 is unbelievable. That I can't believe it. Hornets, Jazz, Wizards, Pelicans, Nets.
The Sixers getting the 3rd pick is pretty crazy. The Spurs getting the 2nd is also crazy.
I will be very curious to see what happens with the 3rd pick.
I feel like that's a
Philadelphia.
trade, right?
So if we're going to be mocking this out in a second, but by consensus, this would be a spot for VJ Edgecomer, Ace Bailey. I don't know if I can see Philadelphia taking either of those two guys. to be
Philly trade for
perfectly honest with
Giannis?
you. I don't know what else. I mean, I literally don't know what else. I mean, you would have.
Do you not just take Ace and hope for the best?
I mean, I would. If
Bold
you're
of you to
asking me
assume
what
that
I
Ace
would
will
do,
be
I
available at
personally
3,
would.
Nick.
So, Steven, you're
No comment.
technically not crazy for the Giannis suggestion. I don't know what that means from a basketball perspective, but if they really wanted to put number 3 Maxey, whatever other stuff on the table for Giannis, they would all of a sudden have a fairly competitive offer compared to Houston, San Antonio, some of the other teams who we expect to be in that mix. But yeah, Nick asked me, like, wouldn't you just stay pat and take Ace? I would take Ace. You could talk me into VJ. I would probably lean Ace just because of the size component. You don't want to be playing a small backcourt with Tyrese McCain, and then you have VJ Edgecombe as that next guy. You definitely want to inject a little bit more size into that lineup. But yeah, I'll be very intrigued to see what happens with that pick.
Okay. We're dancing around it. Let's jump into the mock draft here. Now that we have an order set, we can talk through some of these guys, talk through our reasoning, go back and forth on reasons. And everyone in the chat, watching live, watching after the fact, this is a taste of kind of what we do on every single mock draft, where we get the whole team together and talk it out, propose guys, bicker, fight, agree, disagree, all that good stuff. Number 1 pick, Cooper Flag, Dallas Mavericks, lock it in. Also, I mean, I know that there's so much hoopla, let's go with, over Luka's conditioning and work ethic and concerns about all of that. Very different story with Cooper. It'll be interesting to see if Nico ever lets any of those absurdities.
He and his family did not look ecstatic that the Mavericks won the lottery. I'm just going to say that. They did not look ecstatic.
Do you think they're more excited than if the Sixers won, given their ties to the Celtics?
I don't know what's worse at this point, to be honest with you. I don't know what's worse. Oh, man.
Well, if Dallas is wanting that culture change, right? Like, this is the guy.
That's the
like,
guy.
As we were talking about earlier. Like, this is, if Nico is wanting like the quintessential like Mamba mentality, I'm not saying that Cooper is going to be Kobe by any means, but I feel like he exudes a lot of similarities when it comes to like preparation, tenacity, savvy, relentlessness. I feel like he exhibits a lot of those qualities. Like, this is probably the type of guy that Nico would be dreaming of having when it comes to like work ethic.
There's a lot of this going around, but this just feels morally wrong to me. Like, I have to say that before we go any further. This just feels morally unacceptable to me.
It's rigged.
This is a great fit because defense wins championships. So
Culture.
they got their defensive guy in the house. I don't understand why everyone's so upset. What's the deal here?
I'm glad that he's going to a good place to contribute. Like I really am.
Nothing makes me
You-
happier than
would
when
you-
incompetence gets rewarded.
Do you think there's like any chance to throw a spicy question out there right out of the gate? Do you think there's any chance he pulls like the Eli Manning move of just like,
Ooh.
I'm not putting that pen to paper,
I hope so.
preemptive trade request? Like, is that possible at all?
No,
Full speed,
Um,
Francis. See, Francis
no,
did it before.
but what if Dallas goes to Milwaukee? It's like, hey,
Correct. Yep.
Giannis, let's win now. We got that championship timeline
Timeline.
right now.
Yeah.
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 All right.
And then Milwaukee get Cooper. My head.
Well, someone else who's looking to accelerate their championship timeline, San Antonio Spurs at 2. We thinking Dylan Harper,
Absolutely.
lock? Ace
Absolutely.
Bailey conversation.
I
VJ
know.
Love.
I don't see. Yeah, because look, you got Stephon Castle there, and you got De'Aaron Fox there. So I hear the things about like ball handling and stuff like that. I think Castle is still able to be like that third playmaker on this team, and I think that Dylan is going to play well off of Fox, off of Castle, off of Wemby, because he's positionally versatile right off the rip, and I think that his size at his position fits with everything else that we've seen San Antonio do to this point. Get another guy who can handle responsibility, who can go out there and make plays, set his teammates up, and be another big body in this rotation. I think that works well for San Antonio.
I mean, we were also talking beforehand about potential Giannis trades for San Antonio if
Yeah.
they jumped up to 1. I think those are still valid here too. You just look to trade Fox and or Castle instead. I mean, maybe this is just how high I am on Dylan Harper, but like I think that either Fox or Castle should be more than ready to be the trade piece, the centerpiece for a potential Giannis trade, because I mean
Absolutely.
that accelerates things dramatically for them. And you know, if you're only giving up one of Fox or Castle and you're getting Dylan Harper in the building once one of them is shipped out the door, that's not too big of a step back, I would say.
And Milwaukee could also get pick 14 in the trade too.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they would ask for plus some. All right,
sure.
I just want to make the Ace Bailey argument. I know I'm alone here, but the shot making, the total reduction in creation responsibilities, the defense, the length in that culture where he's now the 4th guy on offense, and you have that type of shot maker and potential defender. I think the defense has a ton of upside. I think it'd be a really, really great spot for him. He's probably still a little more of a project than what they would go for. I get the arguments against it, but I don't think it's totally ridiculous. I'm assuming 4 votes for Dylan Harper, regardless of basketball fit.
That is correct.
Dylan.
Okay. Philly at 3. Ace Bailey.
I think a lot of what you said about Ace in San Antonio kind of applies here too, right? Where like even if you want to change, and go toward more of a rebuild timeline, like you got Tyrese Maxey, you got Jared McCain, you got those guys to handle the ball and set things up. And even
Quentin
if you're
Grimes.
a little bit more aggressive now, yeah, Quentin Grimes too. Jeez. Yeah. And then same thing if you want to go now. I don't know. I kind of like this fit too, even if you want to like slow play it and like put him in the G League for you. Like there's a lot of different stuff that you can do with Ace in this context. I love VJ, but I mean, you're already kind of pushing it size wise with McCain and Maxey. So I'd really look at Ace here.
I agree.
Shocking. Maxwell argues against selecting a small guard.
I love VJ. I tweeted today how excited I was about those VJ measurements because I've got VJ at 3. I've loved him all year, but him coming in like a little bit taller and longer than expected was, love that.
Okay. Ace Bailey. Everyone good?
Concur.
Ace Bailey.
All righty. Also welcoming Tyler Rucker to
Yeah, hey Rucker.
stream.
I'm just trying to process what just happened. So.
Apparently,
We already
it's
talked about
profit,
how awesome
so
it was. Yeah.
I would appreciate if you used your powers for good instead of evil.
Yeah, that was bad.
Okay. Charlotte at 4.
I think VJ Edgecombe is a much better fit for the Hornets than Ace Bailey would be. To be honest, that I think that if this was how this fell, given the circumstances of Charlotte sitting at 4, I think they'd be jumping up and down if VJ Edgecombe was there on the board for them to take. That would be my pick for the Hornets.
Yeah, given how the board has fallen.
Can
so
I-
far, go for it?
Please.
Can I be crazy and say Trey Johnson here? Dynamic
You're
I
not
shot
don't think
maker.
that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy.
Neither do I. I have
They already have a 6'5" guard who tries to shoot way too much, who's named Trey, though.
Hey,
Yeah, I wouldn't-
easy.
I wouldn't
didn't know
stop
where you were
him.
going with
Shots
that one.
fired.
Just saying.
I would not let him stop me from drafting Trey Johnson. Like even a little bit.
I have Trey higher on my board. I do worry about the
defensive effort
culture
and,
fit,
motor of that backcourt
yeah.
with him
That-
and LaMelo is a little scary to me.
I
Just-
like the idea of him being like that more pure shooting guard on that team, specifically too, similar to all the discussions we had with Ace. When you take the primary creation role away from Trey, I think the passing looks better. I think the defensive effort looks better. The decision making, the shot selection, all of that looks better. But none of that has been good on that Charlotte team for a while now anyway, so I'm not sure if any of it would be helped.
I feel like I really like the future of VJ and Brandon Miller together. I know LaMelo is going to keep getting mentioned as rumors and stuff, but I kind of like the mentality of pairing VJ and Brandon Miller together for, building around those two seems fun. There's a lot of versatility. They could play off each other pretty well. VJ doesn't have to do a lot offensively. You kind of let him thrive early on, making an impact defensively. So I don't know. I mean, Trey makes sense for the opposite side of the ball because if it does work, those two are very dangerous together. But I think I'd probably lean VJ.
Okay. Seems like everyone's good. VJ?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So at 5, Nick, remember we are live. Utah Jazz.
Well, I mean,
I'll do it earnestly, and I will earnestly suggest Con Knipple.
There it is.
I'll
There it
do
is.
it. I'll do it in
Ben
complete
Affleck.
sincerity. This is a team that, and I mean, obviously, if you're Utah, you're a little bummed tonight. Like, this did not go the way that you wanted. You won 17 games, and you still don't have like your for sure guy that you're building around. You're still just sort of stuck in this limbo. Like 2 through 3 is still just not ideal for this team right now. Johnny Juzang played almost 20 minutes per game last year in 64 games. It's not great. So
Hey,
I'm
you
gonna go Con
watch
Knipple
it,
here.
Maxwell. Johnny Juzang had a good 15 to 20 game stretch for the
He's
Utah
fine.
Jazz at the end.
Yeah, he's playable, but I would go Con Knipple here. They've got so many big, long, defensively oriented dudes on this team between your Taylor Hendrickses, your Walker Kesslers, etc. I think taking a guy that if nothing else, is going to really shoot the cover off the ball and move the ball and plug into whoever you hopefully get in the lottery next year, because that's where we're going to be again. I have a bad feeling. I think you can live with that here and get pretty excited about it. I think it helps you now. I think it helps you going forward. Like, Khan is going to be super malleable in his role, whoever's there. So even if you have the defensive concerns, I think those matter a little bit less in this context.
Jeff
team was-
Hornacek 2.0.
this team was 6th in the NBA in 3-point attempts and bottom 10 percentage-wise.
Bingo.
They could use the shooting. There are many teams that could say that, but Utah's in a position here to take someone who can help them on that front.
So the people that are more like Trey Johnson oriented, give me the Trey pitch here if anyone's interested in that, because I'd be interested in hearing.
Not on this team.
Okay.
I unfortunately feel like this is wide open.
There are a
for
lot
me.
of
Like I like Khan, but you could talk me. Like, I feel like this is one that's going to start opening up. Like, okay, could we think different routes here that were maybe not all like this is our favorite route or favorite road to go down? But I feel like Utah now is like, this gets really interesting at this point. Like, this could be a little bit of a pivot part of the draft. Like,
I think
I want to throw in
Trey-
a couple wild cards here.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, this would be very rich for a lot of people, given how his
Yes.
stock has been trending. But we know the ties. They need a lead playmaker, lead point guard, ball handler, Yegor Demon. Additionally, they've seemingly been shopping Walker Kessler relentlessly for a year and a half, 2 years now. Come on, Malawach. Wild cards, a little rich for me for both guys. But
If we're gonna give him a big man, I'd say Derek Queen over Malawich.
Is this?
Yeah.
I know how. Okay, we have a couple people on this part right now that I know the answer, but also, like, does fears come into the conversation? I still think
Oof.
it's probably a little rich, but like this is the part where it's like, okay, it's open.
I just
so
feel like
it's
Fears is a
wide
guy
open now.
is like his archetype is a guy they haven't really gone after. Like, I feel like they're looking for the most part at positional size. and his measurements are fine, but
Yeah,
I
What I would say about this Jazz situation is there is nothing to me that's solidified in the backcourt. I know that
Yeah.
Collier had an outstanding passing year, broke John Stockton's Utah Jazz rookie assist record.
Which
We
is
have
dare you,
by the
Deontay
way.
George still in the backcourt, who could very well be. He could still blossom into more of a starting caliber guard on a good team, but ideally probably slotted into a 6-man role. That's always what Colin Sexton's been his best at, is being the first guard off the bench. So I guess my argument would be if you are sold on at least one of those guys being part of your long-term future in the backcourt, you can much easier talk yourself into Con Knipple, kind of like Maxwell did. I think for a lot of those reasons, Con Knipple makes sense. If you aren't sold at all on one of those guys being a long-term backcourt piece, that is where I could make the Trey Johnson argument. That's where I could bring him back into play. Because if your evaluation at its highest point has him in this Tyler Hero-like position, at what point do you say, well, this might be the perfect opportunity for us to experiment with that studio space? Because how competitive are we going to be next year? What kind of expectations do we have to win next year? We're going to be in the same position. We want AJ, or we want Boozer, or we want Darren Peterson. If we believe that Trey Johnson could have that type of upside, why don't we put him in this situation and see just how much he can handle, how much he can bite off and chew?
I love that. I think
I agree.
I think
Go
that
ahead,
Trey.
Wilson.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that I think if you want to go floor approach, and this is to say that Con Knipple doesn't have a high ceiling, like he probably does, right? I think Trey Johnson's ceiling could be like top 3 within this class, and I genuinely feel that way. I think he's more dynamic creator for himself. He's not going to need to be he's not going to have to rely as much, I feel, as Con Knipple to allow other people to set him up. I think that he's a nuclear shooter from deep in a lot of the same ways as Con, but I think that he can do the hard things already. And I think that he has a higher star upside because of those things. I just feel like he's more athletic. He's more quick. I would say Con is probably stronger, right? A little bit, which helps him in that regard. I'm not saying that Con is a pushover at all. I just think that Trey has the upside in this class to be one of the absolute best players within this class. And I think Con is going to be an absolutely like rock solid, good NBA contributor. So it depends on what you're looking for, right? Does Danny Ainge want a potential star, or does he want like a really, really, really good NBA vet for a long, long time?
Where I'll push back on the Trey stuff is like his shot diet is extremely Jabari Smith Jr. Like he just does not get to the rim, and he has been a bad finisher at every single level that he's played at. Like I just don't see star upside in a guy who is sort of lacking that like quickness, bounce, and whatever. Like I know that he's like strong and long, but just like with what we've seen from him, to me, like this is gonna sound really harsh. Like it's a Jabari Smith shot diet without the defensive production on the other side of the floor. And like he's got more of a like self-creation setup kind of a thing, but I just don't know how reliable it's going to be. Like I just don't think he's going to separate that well at the NBA level. Like to me, I get their eyes. I get that he's an awesome shooter, and like I don't know, like he's got a better physical profile than a guy like Buddy Hield. So like I think there is real upside here, but I think the super high end stuff is a little more out of reach than he's getting credit for across the board right now.
To me, the question with this team is what do they need solved that we're certain that Trey Johnson can do? I mean, they have a whole bunch of combo-ish guys in the backcourt, none of whom are good enough passers other than arguably Collier, that you can sort of rely on them as, okay, this is going to be our lead playmaker going forward. Whereas with Con, you have someone who, okay, maybe the top 3 potential isn't as strong for Con as it is for Trey Johnson, but if you're taking Trey Johnson, I mean, I feel like you have to trade at least 2 of Sexton, Clarkson, and Keontae George, right? Because those guys are all going to directly overlap, whereas Con helps out all the rest of those guys by, just being a wing with size who's going to be spacing the floor, rather than, okay, we have to give up on 2 of our 3, combo guard guys to even get this guy minutes.
And I don't think they should be even bothering looking at need right now. They won 17 games. They're fucking horrible. Yeah. And they don't have I don't think anyone on that team is preventing them from drafting anyone. So like
I
if
don't
there's
mean
some
it in that
positional
sense.
overlap,
Yeah.
okay. But like I think they should be looking at it from a all right, who has the highest upside here and who can help take us over that ledge, or not next year obviously because they're going to be in the Peterson AJ Boozer sweepstakes yet again. But
So to swing the argument back in Maxwell's favor with the Con Knippel nomination, he would be the guy who I would categorize best as false ceiling in this group in terms of if he's put on a team with the right pieces around him and he's in a winning environment, who do you trust more to contribute to that winning environment at that level? Would it be Con or would it be Trey? And I do trust Con a lot more as someone who can make the right plays and thrive in a winning environment right now as opposed to Trey Johnson. So
I just
That's a
be
much
careful
better
about
way
the
of phrasing
Texas
the argument I was trying to
ecosystem.
make.
No, but
Sure.
I think you could argue this if you're going Trey with Con. I think you could argue Cons takes the immediate floor of a rebuilding team and raises it. Trey is definitely the ceiling raiser, but you also might be further back if it strikes out. I don't think Con's a risky play. I think people might be like, "Hey, this is a little rich at 5," but like Danny Ainge, we've seen, like we know how patient he is. He was patient with Jaylen Brown. He's patient. Like they're just getting pieces. They're trying to build not only the high upside guys, they're trying to build the right culture and everything. So he doesn't care if he's taking Con at 5 and everyone's like, "This is a little rich." He's like we're building something. So I think it would be a good pick. I get the questions about Trey, but I also think Metcalf's right on. Like they're going to swing for guys. Like they don't know what their identity still is. They're just trying to figure it out and see who sticks. So I get any names here, but I get the Con thing. I think Con would be a smart pick of being like, it's fun to chase upside with these guys, but it's also fun sometimes and smart to be like, hey, let's get a good one, keep building, keep moving forward.
I mean, we don't expect this team to make the playoffs anytime in the next 2 years.
No.
Right? So why not just get a piece who will be a helpful piece, and then, next year they're probably going to be similarly bad, but they might actually jump higher than 5.
I'll vote for Con Knippel. I'm sold.
I just don't want to hold Texas's problems against Trey and give Con a ton of credit for playing with Cooper
No,
Flag.
because I think it's going to be a legit debate because it's going to be how they view the timeline and like what are you tracing? Because I do think Con's it'd be tough to pass up Con. Now, I know Jazz fans will hear that and be like, "What?" But it's like this is a piece that gets you moving forward for sure. It might not be the highest upside like we're saying, but like this is a damn good basketball player. So and he does a lot of stuff that would help their team, like playmaking, feel smart.
I wouldn't be upset with Con. I wouldn't be upset.
I'd be happy. I'd be like, all right, good. Like you got a good player. So I'll go Con.
Cool.
It's 4.
Yeah, no, we're good with Con. And for the record, I have Con at 7, so I'm not trying to dog on him. Just that team just bewilders me. Okay, so just quick recap: Dallas at 1, Cooper Flag. Spurs taking Dylan Harper at 2, 76ers taking Ace Bailey at 3, VGA Edgecombe to the Hornets at 4, Con Knippel to the Jazz at 5, Washington Wizards at 6.
Poor Wizards fans.
How do we
Derek
Queen? Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Queen makes sense here too. I'm lower on Queen, but I get it. The other name I was going to throw out was going to be Colin Murray Boyles. If you just want to like lean into a buzzsaw defensive thing with like him and Sarr, maybe. But I think I'm like the high man on CMB in this group.
Yeah.
No,
I think so.
I love CMB.
Are we sure? Are we sure Senge wouldn't be in play here?
Oh, they do love French guys with tools.
They're rich for me, personally.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm gonna. No, I'm not gonna say it. I probably
Say it.
Queen. I was gonna say this might make sense for Malawatch, but I think I'd still lean other directions. I think Queen would be a heck of a get for them.
See, the thing about Alex Sarr is that it's pretty easy to find a front court partner that makes sense because he covers so many bases. The other guy doesn't need to do all that much. And so I guess the question is, do you think they need more size from the big man spot, or do you think they need more offense from the big man spot? And I mean, either one of them I think makes sense, but like just looking at what the Wizards did and did not do this year, I'm less worried about the defense than I am the offense, which is why I would lean Queen.
Is it too funky of a front court to where it's like a lot of cool things that could happen, but like are the important things happening at the same time?
That's kind of
Good
where
question.
I'm at.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the spacing with those two is pretty horrific. The defensive consistency, I think, would be really rough. I personally don't love it, and I'd be pretty skeptical if you could play them together.
You have to be really convinced that one of them is going to shoot.
And I'm not with either.
I'm convinced that one
I'm
of them
more-
will shoot.
I'm more convinced of Queen's like mentality being what that young team would need, just kind of being like, because I feel like he plays a little edge. Like they'll still, I don't know. I get the questions. It's a rough spot right here because you could go in a number of different directions, but I don't love a lot of them.
Can I throw out a wild card here?
Of course.
What you got?
What do we think about Carter Bryant?
I was just
I was
thinking
looking
that.
at him too.
It's a bit rich. I get it. Like,
No,
and I'm like,
it's rich.
I'm Mr. Usage, and like taking a low usage guy here is really scary. I get it. But I feel like they don't have a guy who is both like 3 and D. Like it feels like everyone on this team is very tilted to one side of the court. And they've got a lot of guys that they seem to trust that they want to have the ball in the hands of. And like maybe you just say, like, here's the guy that's going to take shots and connect the dots and play some defense.
What do we think the vision of this team moving forward is? Like, what's the ethos? I know Rucker is like the residential Wizard fan now. He's adopted this fan base. Rucker, what would you say is like, what are the ethos that the Wizards are trying to build on right now?
I would like to be on. I think Maxwell's on to something. Like I think that's your next direction is either getting that kind of physical, lengthy wing forward combo to kind of connect everyone together, or you get it in a big.
Malawash does kind of make sense, but someone in the chat said that Sar was not good with like a more traditional type big in there at all.
I see this is a guy who loves Alex Sar. What was Alex Sar good with last year?
Yeah.
Like,
Not a
I
whole
love Alex Sar. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I do actually think he's
Fuck
going
you.
to shoot. But yeah, I mean, if he's your big, like you're surrendering a lot on the glass, you're surrendering a lot on the interior. You're gonna have the defensive
That's why CMB makes some sense because he's
That's
a
what I'm
defender,
thinking.
rebounder, passer.
Sort of compensates for the rim pressure you're not getting from like him and Carrington and like Keyshawn George. Like he kind of makes up for what they're lacking while still giving you like a passing element on the inside.
So their two best lineups by net rating last year over 100 that included over 100 possessions included Jordan Poole, Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly, and Corey Kispert.
Would
And
this be a
then
weird place
was
to look
both-
at
It was both bigs in that last
Say it,
spot.
Stephen. Say it.
Jeremiah
No,
Fears?
I was gonna say, is this a weird Kasparis landing spot?
I'm thinking like a
Hey.
guard like him, Yegor Kasparis, like one of the guards.
Yegor.
They don't have a point guard. Jordan Poole's not going to be there long term, and I don't think Bub is a point guard. So
Jordan Poole, is it?
He was the
Um,
leader on that team this year.
Oh gosh, they need someone to score.
I mean, they have Kobe Jones now. They'll be fine.
Easy.
Jordan Poole was the quote unquote leader in that offense last year. They also gave a
That's what I'm
lot more
saying,
reign than I think people realize to Bilal to run a lot of pick and roll possessions and try and figure things out. And I think they're probably invested in that experiment for at least another season. While they're
Washington
hoping to
getting
land high in
sixth.
2026, and then after that, who knows? So I don't really know that there is a clean direction for this team right now, which is why we're so stuck. Same with Utah. We're stuck for the exact same reasons. We don't know what the direction is.
Are we not talking about Trey Johnson for the same reasons as Utah? I just need to say his name before everyone in the chat probably.
I
yells
think if
at
you're
us.
taking
Okay,
up
all
that
right.
swing, it makes sense. But I think this is another front office that puts a ton of value into the
And the right piece.
intangible stuff and
Defense kind of leaning.
Not saying Trace is bad, but yeah, defensively that backcourt with him and Bub would be rough.
The problem that I'm really having is that I would love to get them a big wing who plays defense, and I'm not high enough on any of them to like push them all the way up to 6.
I'm
It's the
voting
number.
I'm voting Derek Queen because I also forget it's going to be he's coming home.
Mm.
We're going Derek Queen. I'm getting the vibes. I know I don't love the fit, but I don't love Malawatch there. I feel like that's a lot.
We're also it's not a big enough sample size for us to say that Sar can't play next to another big. It's not a big enough
exactly.
sample size.
I mean, I need more. I think Sar way overperformed what I thought he was going to as a rookie. That was a low bar, but still.
I think
I'll
Queen
just say
also.
Queen.
I think Queen also defended well in space against a lot of people. I think too that he ranked in the 81st percentile in mid-range shot and shot well from free throw. Good touch around the rim. Like there are touch indicators that I feel like he could spread out his shot a little bit more, and he moves like so daggum good, especially if
He's
he's going to
also-
be 6'10".
He's
in
also
shoes.
just won and performed now at every level, right? Like he was obviously a winner through high school. He got that Maryland team, was a big part of getting that Maryland team to the Sweet 16 that they might not have had any business getting to. Like he's just a guy who knows how to play ball and knows how to make it work with a variety of
I'm cool with Queen.
different players. So
Okay.
I'm gonna vote Queen.
3 Queen.
I'll be 4 for Queen.
Alrighty.
That was fun. Thank you, Washington.
New Orleans at 7.
I want to give them either
Pass.
Casper or
I liked Rutgers' idea.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, who can pass? That would be a good thing to get them.
Well, Yakashonis or Yegor. They're both still on the board.
We've
So
also
new front office.
yeah.
We have a new front office that has prioritized athleticism, length
Bigs.
in other areas. Yeah.
Little
I'm gonna say
watch
Trey.
action. Twin Towers with him and East missing.
I'm gonna say
The fact that
Trey.
you can't even finish that without laughing says all we need to know about it.
Mhm.
I'll second Trey. I think that they got the requisite defense on this team too. That if you're worried about his defense, if you're buying the upside as a playmaker that he showed this year, I think that's there. And then again, has like nuclear scoring potential.
Have CJ McCollum mentor him until February and then trade CJ.
Well, you get to a point where also like, hey, upside. Like you're not going to get more upside. I mean, him and Malwatch probably like two of the biggest upside swings. So I get it. I don't know.
But it's
Once
also
upon
a
a
thing
time,
too
they
where it's like
drafted
if you're
Buddy Hield.
picking at this point, I think we're all confident that Trey's like a good NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're like this is not going to be bad value here. I wouldn't think.
No, and I think I think their point guard and shooting guard positions specifically, there are a lot of questions. Jordan
Yep.
Hawkins hasn't answered any of them. CJ McCollum is old and needs to move on.
Deontay Murray can't ever stay healthy.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Trey Johnson, we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great.
Alrighty. Brooklyn 8.
I
know
still
they're
think
the
this is
same
my
two names that we
favorite
always go with: Fears, Malwatch.
I'm saying Fears. I still think it
Oh.
makes way too much sense for both sides, but I wasn't expecting Kaspers to be on the board, so I'm open for discussion.
Also, if we're thinking home run swing type stuff, Yegor.
Yeah.
Carter Bryant, Kamal Malawatch.
I like CMB and Malawatch better out of the upsidey swing guys.
Gosh, Yegor's measurement today was awesome. I don't know.
This team literally
Talk to
does
me.
not have a single player on the roster who's 7 foot, and they were second to last in the league in 2-point percentage last season. I would strongly consider looking at Malawatch. Just
I'm not
because,
even-
hey, if there's one thing
not
that
even
he can't
the
do,
biggest
it's
guy.
finish, right?
Yeah.
I heard good intel about the kid. I've heard a bunch. Seems like it's the right team to swing for a guy like that you can be patient. I think Nick brings up a good point. Like they're small. You need to build some building blocks, and having a gigantic high upside freak like that is probably a good start. So
It
I
helps.
think this is a good spot. Like it's a good spot.
There's also a
Both.
lot of guards in this draft class, and I have two centers ranked in the lottery. So
Good point.
And Brooklyn
Might be a good
has
idea to
8
go with
billion
sides.
All right, Malawatch it is.
picks. Alrighty. 9 Toronto.
Toronto would be crushed probably.
Yeah.
Colin Murray Boyles. No, I'm kidding. This is like the one
I
team I
love
don't
that
want
thi-
him on.
is this-
That's the one team I don't want him on.
Is this becoming your guy? We always have someone
like
as a guy.
Love CMB.
I have him 6.
I like CMB a lot more now that I know
Happens,
that he's
yeah.
6'8" with that wingspan.
That was a big
So,
day for him. Big
Big day
day
for
for him.
What about
Jeremiah Fears?
I was gonna throw out my guy Danny Wolf here.
Oh gosh,
Am I-
Maxwell.
Am I going crazy?
you drinking?
Does everybody here have fears
It's a
over
diet
both
mug.
Kasparis and Yegor?
I do, yeah.
I think those would be the two names I'd be nominating right now. Is Kasparis.
I'd
and
throw
I
Carter
can't believe
Bryant.
we got a Danny Wolf. This is fantastic. I'm
Carter
having a
Bryant.
great time.
Yeah, Carter Bryant. I think would be.
So here's the thing with Toronto. Like we keep looking at this team like there's no
I don't
easy
wanna
pick
keep
to
giving
make
them
because
wings.
they have a lot of established guys at basically every position. That also means they have a lot of money tied up to guys at every single position. So they kind of can't afford to miss on this pick. Like they kind of need to hit it. So I wouldn't necessarily peg them as, even though the Masai's been an upside guy in the past, I don't know if this would be a spot where I would go quote unquote upside swing. I might try and get a player here. So like
I would hate
we've
to
talked
get
about Yakashonis. We've talked about, I know Maxwell doesn't want CMB to go there, but we could bring
they got to be crushed that Malawatch is off the board right now too.
they would, yeah, because
Do they
need the
want to
guy
go
for Pirtle.
Sorber? Like I know that a lot of people don't like Sorber like this high. I have Sorber 14th on my board. I think that Sorber Toronto would be fun.
Because you're super smart.
I like.
I
him.
just
Well,
I don't
thank you.
understand.
Wouldn't Carter Bryant make more sense though too? Because like this is another one of those teams where it feels like everybody's very tilted to one side of the ball, and I think Carter Bryant at least gives you like something
also
two-way that makes sense on both
Tilted to
sides.
his position a lot too
That's-
already.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't
Yeah,
I don't consider Carter Bryant the same type of upside swing as I do some of these other guys. I think he's going to be pretty freaking good, in all honesty. I know we all love him as a prospect. I think he's going to be pretty freaking good. I
I
would
feel like
consider
all
him.
these guys are reaches with Casper still on the board.
I would go Kasparis here.
Yeah,
I
like, this is not a difficult
Maxwell,
one for me.
I think Carter Bryant there would have some real legs. I think that's a good shout out. I just wonder if this could be like what Nathan's saying, like maybe they're trying to swing a little bit more of like early help than upsides, but it's also like I feel like we're saying that, and at the end of the day, I feel like whoever's calling the shots is probably going to be like, "Whoa, Carter Bryant, I have the itch again." Like someone at the
All right.
casino.
If we're gonna go the Kasparis route, I want someone to explain this to me like I'm 5. What are we positive that he's gonna do like great on this team to make the passing like the focal point? You know what I mean? Like, because I get that he's got incredible vision. I get it. But what else is he doing on offense as like as a lead guard or even an off guard in the NBA that we're sure that he's going to bring value for?
I would to add on to Steven's point too. I just feel like Casper is quickly Grady Dick. It's a lot of like, I'm not loving that out of like the smaller guys that this team plays.
Are you loving RJ Barrett being one of the primary decision makers? Because that's a problem
Yes.
Casper solves immediately.
Good
Does he?
callback. I don't
No,
love.
like,
I
that's
don't
the
love.
thing, is
I don't
like,
like.
I
I don't
don't-
love anything in the backcourt. I don't love anything in the backcourt, like at all. So, like for the same discussions we're having, you could talk to me about fears, but I also don't know if that's too long term for this front office right now.
They do need another backup guard. Like I don't know what Jamal Shedd's time in Toronto is gonna look like in a few years. So it's a position they technically need to fill behind.
But what is Kasper's going to do? Back to my question. What is Kasper?
They don't have another guy who can set the table like him though. They don't
Yeah.
have another guy who can do what he does.
He's going to
It's like-
start.
it's
He's
like
going to
the
organize the
argument.
offense. He's going to take a ton of pressure off Scotty Barnes. He's going to take a ton of pressure off RJ Barrett. He's going to help one of the worst offenses in the league make sense. He's going to help a team that out of the literally 19 players that they had who played 16 or more minutes a game, 3 of them are point guards. One of them is no longer on the roster, and the other is Bruce Brown, who isn't a point guard and
So
also
it-
only played 18 games.
So he's just going to pass.
No, he's got a nice little step back, but like this is I don't think they have someone that could just like put people in the right spots right now.
I'm just
I think they're trying to make quickly something
Toronto's-
he's not.
spacing
I
is
just-
concerning already. Like that's my point.
But I don't think Kasparis is just like a like. Do you think
Also-
Jaegor's a better shooter than Kasparis? Like I think Kasparis.
I don't
could be
think
a
either one of
consistent
them are
floor
going to
spacer.
be good shooters. Like that's my.
If spacing is the concern, why is CMB even in the discussion?
Oh, I was joking.
I
I
think it's
was saying I don't want to.
here
For those
I didn't-
reasons, yeah.
I didn't bring him up.
That's why I kind of like Carter Bryant. I kind of like Carter Bryant here because a lot of these bigger guys are like playmaker-ish. I know if we don't like RJ Barrett setting the table, but like if Scotty Barnes is going to be dribbling the ball a ton, and then like you've got quickly, like you could almost slot Carter Bryant as like a 2. You know what I mean? Like you could play some funky lineups to just have a lot of size on the floor. Like I don't know. I think he's a guy I would think long and hard about, because I kind of think this course sucks, and I would not be married to like keeping any of these guys around, especially Scotty Barnes.
So here's where I'm also going to side with Maxwell on the Carter Bryant argument. How easy is it to find someone like Carter Bryant potentially in a trade or on the open market versus someone like Yakashonis or even Fears? We're going to get bites at the guard apple in every draft every single year. How many times are you going to find someone exactly like Carter Bryant?
I mean, I don't know if we're getting every year a 6'5" high field guard that's some toughness, but I love Carter Bryant. Like, I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite prospects I've scouted. So, like, I'm not gonna fight back against any Carter Bryant love, but
I saw Yakashonis in person. I wasn't blown away. I will just he was good. I wasn't blown away.
I was really impressed with him in person, for what it's worth.
that's why I love everyone. It's because we get two sides of the fence. But
And I don't
get
hate Yakashonis either. To me, it's between Yakashonis and Carter Bryant.
Same.
If we're voting between those two, I'm voting Carter Bryant.
I'm also leaning Carter Bryant, given the size, the athleticism, the off-ball
I'll
scoring,
go Carter.
smart
It's
passer,
easy.
incredible defender. I think one of, if not the best perimeter defenders in this class, with some real legit weak side rim protection stuff to his game.
Great talk. Love it.
Okay.
I love Carter Bryant. So this is like the
Welcome
opposite
to
of what
Toronto.
our fights usually are. Because I'm like, great. I didn't know we had this many supporters.
Fine, I also win.
Fine. I also love him.
To all the people listening, thank you so much. You're not going to find another podcast doing what we're doing right now, arguing with each other and still loving each other at the end. You won't find something else like this right now.
All right, quick
I'm kind of out on Metcalf.
quick recap
personally.
after Nathan's embarrassing emotional outburst there.
Nick,
Al-
you rock. I just want to say that. No one ever says that about you. Nick, you
Cooper Flag to Dallas at 1, Dylan Harper to San Antonio at 2, Ace Bailey to Philly at 3, VJ Edgecombe to Charlotte at 4, Con Knipple to Utah at 5, Derek Queen to Washington at 6, Trey Johnson to New Orleans at 7, Kaman Malawach to Brooklyn at 8, Carter Bryant to Toronto at 9, Houston Rockets sitting at 10.
This is not an easy team to pick. For
No, this is tough. Carter Bryant would have been fantastic here. Kaman Malawach would have been really interesting here. Trey Johnson would have been really fun here.
Maxwell, how you like CMB on the Rockets?
I love CMB on every team.
I do
Except
too.
Toronto.
Well, especially if not
especially
except
Toronto.
Toronto. No, I think this is a team that, like, I get that you're complicating by adding yet another non-shooter, but if there's a team that's proven that they know how to scheme around playing non-shooters, it's probably this one, as long as you can live up to your end of the bargain defensively. I also still think this is a team that probably makes a consolidation trade of some sort
Correct.
at some point. So you're probably going to reshuffle the deck. CMB could be a valuable piece of that trade, or if you have to part with Şengün or Amen Thompson or one of these other guys, you get somebody that does some of those things that
You're maintaining
do
the
in a
identity.
different
Yep.
way. Like, yeah, I think he fits here.
I have a
agree. I would
crazy
vote
idea.
for him. But go ahead, Steven. I want to hear this.
We know that this is a team that values athleticism, right? And I don't know how athletic this guy is, but I think he helps with floor spacing and offensive punch, and I think he's all right on the defensive end. Cedric Coward. Can we go ahead and start having this conversation?
Oh, no, we are not having a top
No.
10 conversation. We're not talking about Patrick Howard and top
Just-
10.
I told you I was
literally
gonna get
will
crazy.
log off. I will literally
we're not-
log off and ban any future
No.
streams.
Some people might be
Although
rooting for him.
Although
I
Cedric-
think the general public needs to rein it in on Cedric Coward just
Yeah.
a little bit.
I told you I was going to get crazy.
But we do like him.
You
We all
lived up to
we're
expectations.
fans of
Congratulations,
Cedric
Steven.
Coward.
I still have
I-
a process that Dallas just got the first pick, so I think everyone's allowed a day to kind of be a little crazy.
Jeremiah Fears, though?
Would they? So that would be my other guy. Would they consider Fears here if in a hypothetical trade they're parting with someone like a Reed Shepard, Maybe you
I
slot in
think
another
the
guy like
defense is-
Fears.
I don't think the defense is anywhere near a point where Ime wouldn't play him for 4 years.
Okay. I'm just thinking athleticism, like pure
I
athleticism.
know,
for
which
this team.
takes me to Rasheer Fleming and Nick Clifford,
I love both of those names. I'll be fine with either.
especially if we're thinking consolidation trade, especially Fleming. I think he covers up a lot of that real quick. 10 is still pretty rich, though.
I don't think I'd take those guys over Colin Murray Boyles at this spot.
Who is also
But I
pretty
like where you're
athletic,
going.
by the way.
I
Maybe.
feel like I might go big hunting here. Can I shock people and no? No, they won't do. They won't do
Yeah,
it.
come on, you can't
Did you
start
say?
off.
Are you going to say Sorber?
Sorber?
I was gonna say, could they shock everyone and we're all thinking they're gonna go defense? And they say, Danny Wolf, come on down.
Whoa.
I don't know. You
They
just
can be
could
the-
go a
the
number of
Alfred-
different routes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Makes kind of some sense, but gosh, he measured bigger today than I thought too.
Yeah. Put him in the Alperen Şengün school of being a defensive roamer and see where life takes you.
And would they be all
They
right
played them
leaning?
together?
Would they be all right leaning offense after the playoffs they just had too? By the way,
That's true. Could see it.
Sorber was a good one too. I didn't think of. I was thinking, could Asa be like? We're not thinking about this, but that's why I saw Danny Wolf and I was like, oh, I don't know. Gosh,
I
it goes so many
I
different
would rather have Asa than a few of the names that have come up so far, just in terms of, whoever it is, odds are they're not going to get that many minutes, right? So, if Asa's shot comes around a little bit, then maybe he is more helpful for them than any of these other guys who also aren't likely to play all that much.
Yegor Demon. I'm not even a big Demon guy, right? But
I'd
Yegor
go
could be.
Kasparis over him.
Yeah, no, I'm more of a Yegor guy, and I would still go Kasparis first. And
Okay.
I think both of them are just a little bit too weird for this team. Even though I would have taken them both a few picks ago, to be honest, I would rather talk about Newell or Fleming.
Them
just
with
because of the
Amin
roster.
Thompson would be crazy to see, though.
I mean, I would say I would vote Nick Clifford here. I think Nick with them would
I'm
be
okay with
fantastic, but I'm like Nick, Danny Wolf makes some sense to me. I just feel like the other ones are kind of a little bit like, maybe. Did we mock Fears yet? No.
Nope.
No, he's still in the floor too.
Oh, that's a good upside. But you just took Reed.
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't
problem. Is which of these guys would play? It's like not
None of
many.
I'll go Murray Boyles. I'll be with Maxwell.
that's
I think
my
this is a good
I'm in.
landing spot for that. Also,
I'm
if they
in.
do make some trade, then you got Murray Boyles. It's like, hey, he could come in and help out if you're getting rid of those defensive pieces. I'll go that route.
Still very young as a sophomore, too, by the way.
Maxwell, you going CMB?
Yeah, I'm good with CMB here.
Nathan,
Yep, CMB.
Nick, you're good.
I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm not going to push too much harder for the guys I've already said 74 times.
Nick, I'm with you. So it's okay. We're going to get this soon. I promise. All right. Who's next?
Portland at 11.
Ah, shit.
Are you sure?
No. Oh, gosh. This pick just gets harder every year.
I like Fleming here. This might be a little reductive or redundant, but
It's just tough.
Yeah.
yeah, they have a lot. Do we feel like they're moving off of Anthony Simons? Like, I keep hearing his name
I don't.
mentioned all the time.
I've been told no.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of
Unless
those things
it's gonna be
where,
a healthy offer.
Yeah.
yeah. And it feels like
I
one of those
think
things
they
where
love him.
people like to put him in trades, and it's like, does that trade make any sense for Portland, or do you just want Anthony Simons on a
Yeah.
different team?
Yeah,
Like the
exactly.
Miles Turner trade rumors for the past
Yeah.
10 years.
I think they love him.
Does Danny
Yes,
Wolf
oh,
make any
it's-
sense here?
I kind of was thinking.
Yeah.
Both make a lot of sense in a lot of places.
Steam does need passing help.
Are we sure he can shoot?
Does Danny Wolf make sense here, or do
Yeah.
we just love Danny Wolf? So we're like, hey, he makes sense anywhere. He's Danny Wolf,
Yes.
which is a real question.
We do love Danny Wolf, but do y'all think that he's going to be able to shoot? I think this is a fair
To what
question to
level?
ask.
So
I'm skeptical, which
you-
is why I think
teams-
I'm lower on him than average among our
so
group.
relative to
Teams are going to step out and guard
long-term-
him.
I think so.
Yeah. So relative to long-term NBA bigs, he was above the 80th percentile in 3-point attempts per 100 possessions, which volume tends to be like the best indicator I've found generally, and his percentage was like in the 70th percentile among long-term bigs. So like
he took some
he grades
really
out well
stuff this year too.
Yeah.
It wasn't all just like pick and pop, stand in the corners.
Yes.
Like off movement, running off screens, pull up in transition.
He shot like
DHO,
37% on
catch-and-shoots.
guarded threes.
The mechanics are a little funky. He kind of comes across his face a little bit, but I think he has good touch.
But he's
so
never been
I
a
think
free
he'll be
throw guy either.
fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's going to turn into Cat or anything, but I think 37-ish percent, 37, 38% for his career.
Oh
Won't
man,
shock
if he's
me.
37 for his career, I would be over the moon.
Would we not consider Senge with this pick?
I'm not there with him, but I understand it.
Yeah.
I didn't get that read what I asked, so that's why I'm because normally I would have been like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I don't think that's gonna happen. But maybe now that they moved back a little bit, I don't know.
I wouldn't take Yakashonis off the table for them.
Jones just seems like a smart pick if they're like, hey, we like him.
It's also a team
Third.
where a lot of the concerns are a little like alleviated with guys
Yeah.
like Monty Kamara and Denny Avdia,
Correct.
Jonathan Klingon, etc.
He doesn't have the weight of the world of being the only creator on his team either, which would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with
Votes?
Kasper here.
I'll second
Yeah.
Kasparis.
I'll go Kasparis.
Yep, let's do it.
Alrighty. Chicago at 12.
They love their offensively tilted big men. Which brings me to Danny Wolf, the number 10 prospect. on
No
the
way,
board.
Danny Wolf.
They also love forwards who can't shoot. Oh wait, Colin Murray Boyles is gone already.
Yeah, he's gone.
Rasheer
I can't talk
Fleming.
about him anymore.
No, Rasheer can shoot.
Rasheer would act like legit be a breath of fresh air here. I would go Wolf. I would love Sorber here too.
Sorber, I'm down.
Especially with how well they moved the ball as a team last season. Like that seems like a thing they want to lean into. I'd be.
Do you like Sorber? Is Corey the only one that doesn't like Sorber? Or no,
think so.
Nathan, you're cooler on him. That's fine though. I get
No,
cooler.
no.
Corey and I
No.
want to fight each other.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I like
No,
Sorber.
Corey and I want to fight each other about Sorber. And
I think I'm in the Corey camp on Sorber.
Okay, great.
So
You
Nick,
rock, Nick.
Sorber is a big that
Sorber's my
passes.
nomination.
Sorber is a big that passes, so I will have him 45 spots too high on my board. It's centers that pass and forwards who stuff that can't shoot are my two. favorites.
It's also just insane. When I was looking back at doing Sorber stuff, it's insane how many box scores I would see with like 5 stocks. And it's
his
just
defensive
incredible how
playmaking
good
numbers are
playmaking
really
he
good.
was.
He's
It's
His
like- it's
measurements
utterly
were sexy today.
I don't know if he can defend
also-
space at all.
Gigantic. He's 260
He is
pounds
gigantic.
and plays like he's 260, which is so much fun. So that's why I love him because I'm like he throws his body around.
I think we're all picking Sorber here, is what it sounds
I like
Yeah.
Sorber.
Okay.
Thomas
Give
Sorber.
Bulls fans some excitement in their lives.
The
Off
Bulls
the
have not
floor.
had a
Shout
big
out
man
Corey,
who can
he'll love
defend
this
in
pick.
ages.
Can someone give Corey this write up, please?
He turned off. He stopped watching the stream.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
right now for a nine.
you're asking me to assign Corey Sorber. I'm not going to be that cruel. Sorry.
I'll
It's
do
not
it.
happening.
Okay,
Oh, man.
Atlanta at 13.
Neek.
That's a good pick. New front office entirely.
Who
I
dis?
think so.
I didn't know if they
I
got
don't think
gutted or
they-
3/4 of it.
They haven't hired. Have they hired anyone yet?
They
I
changed
don't-
their
You
scouting
know what? They
department,
haven't.
I know
They
that.
haven't.
Yeah.
Because they listed who was in the running, and I was like, that's a good trio of candidates.
They have a big Trae Young question to answer.
Yeah.
Are they invested?
I think the new front office is going to answer a lot of those questions.
Yeah.
After the break.
If we have them.
Not yet, Steven.
Neek Clifford does a lot of really cool things, and this team needs cool things.
I like that.
Wolf.
Does Jeremiah Fears make any sense as a long-term
You
replacement
have to
Hiring-
know
hiring
that
the
Trey's out
understudy,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a
I just-
Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation right here. If that happens,
This team is so offensively tilted. I don't know what to do with that.
Well, they have no
and
size in the front
Fields.
court.
I just realized this 10 through 14 is going to be like death row now for mock drafts for
Yeah.
us moving forward.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
So
Spurs
Trey
next,
Young has 45 million on the books in 25-26. Then he has a player option in 26-27, and then at that point.
Ooh.
So I feel like if they're going to move away from Trey, they're going to do it this offseason because it would just make a lot of sense.
I feel like we would kind of have to know that though to go with the Jeremiah.
Oh no, I'm not
Pierce.
saying that should impact the
Yeah.
pick. I'm just trying to talk about like where the Atlanta
That's-
Hawks are at currently.
I think because they're kind of stuck, I think you almost just go BPA. Like, I think if you think Fears is like the best suit on the board, you just take Fears.
Which he is for me, for what it's worth.
I have Carter Bryant and Fleming higher.
Well, Carter Bryant's gone, so no, you
Yeah.
don't.
Or I'm sorry, Neat Clifford.
Yeah.
And I do have Carter Bryant higher.
I like Neek or Fleming here, but I also think Fears, like Maxwell's saying, but like Neek or Fleming would just be like, hey, let's just get a safe guy while we're figuring some shit out. And I kind of like them being next to Jalen Johnson and stuff, but I don't know.
They
Asa
don't
Noel, I
have
guess, is
another
a wild
guy
card.
like Fleming on the roster.
He kind of fits perfectly, right, with Jalen and stuff, where he can just shoot.
Especially with
He-
him being so big now, too. Like, we know that he's that size, so you like the
Huge.
center stuff is like very on the table now.
Well,
Which it should have been the whole time.
So, like,
7'5.5" with
7'5".
it's 6'8.5" or 6'8
He's-
and a quarter.
Yeah,
He's
he's near
terrifying.
6'10".
He's
Yeah,
huge.
He's a
He's
pterodactyl.
gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
I'm gonna
pterodactyl
vote
with
Fleming.
weight. All right, I'll say
Go with
Fleming.
Fleming. And he
Fleming.
fits the kind of style of guys that they've been going after recently with the size,
Absolutely.
athleticism, and a perimeter defensive trio of him, Jalen Johnson, and Zachary Risachet. Kind of fun. Okay, wrapping up. San Antonio at 14.
Would have loved Rasheer there, so that's classic. I'll say
Neek,
They went Dylan Harper at 2.
Danny Wolf.
some names on the board still. I'd say Neek.
I'm cool with that.
My son's buddy texted me they're gonna trade 2 to the Suns for Durant. I said, no, they're not.
What's a weird name? Liam McNeely. I know.
I was just about to say, I
Albert.
know I'm the highest on him of the crew here, but I
He's
think
such a
it's at least
Spurs
worth a
pick.
discussion.
I think Fleming
Yeah.
is another good one because you've got it's another like you've
We
got
just
so
took
many.
Fleming.
He
bench
gone.
players.
Fleming
Oh,
now.
my bad.
I would have
But you're
sprinted for Fleming for them. I think would have been perfect.
Listen, we I know I yelled about it 4 picks ago, but Cedric Coward here is not. I'm sorry, it's not crazy. Not for San Antonio, it's not.
I just
I would
feel
not
like
be mad.
there's-
Not for San Antonio, it's not crazy.
I love Coward and have for a while. I just think that there are not only better wings on the board generally, but better for the Spurs specifically.
I mean, Neek is the
see vision
sensible pick.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Because like Jaeger or Fears don't make sense with what you just did it to.
Yeah.
Asa
feel
I
Jaeger's
like, but I
falling
don't
too far, but
know.
it just doesn't make sense here.
I mean, I think we can make strong cases for Neek, for Danny Wolf, and even though I'm not the biggest McNeely guy, I have him pretty far down my board from where we're at now, but I think we could make cases.
I would
Do
go
we
Will
think they're
O'Reilly
going to
over
solve
McNeely.
like do we think they could solve the center
I
spot
would.
in the draft, or do we think they're going to go for a veteran or two to answer that question? Because they also quietly don't have a big man at this point, other than Victor on the roster. So they will need
Let's
to,
say-
they will need to answer that question.
Do they have second round picks, like good ones? Because they could be in the running for like a Kalkbrenner or
I don't think
Someone
someone getting to the second round after today.
oh, dude, I wouldn't be.
I mean,
don't
they
think
do
Cuthbert- I
have
think
two-
Cuthbert's are- They got
They have
38
2
right
second
now.
round picks, but
yeah,
38 and and they have 38. I think
Depending
right
on how
now.
you feel about guys like Kalkbrenner, Reno, Berenger, they might feel like they could get it later.
So
What
I
about
believe
Essengay?
I think Wolf would make sense. I think
And if they're looking for a
Derek-
backup center, I imagine they're just going to assign someone to a vet min.
I would, yeah, I would for sure at
why I
least
asked
get
that
one out of
question.
it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking to.
Berger would be
Yeah.
a very Berger. I could see being an extreme wild card that we're not ready for on draft night. That just like I'm saying, like when it happens, like whoa, they did that early.
I'm not an Essengay guy, Rucker, but I know that you like him a lot. How do you feel about Essengay in this one?
I get him there. I think it makes some sense. Like I also think if you're swinging a little bit, like they're going to be picking with house money if they're taking. They should be taking Dylan Harper at 2, in my opinion, no matter what. But so like you're playing with house money already. So if you want to swing for another lotto pick at 14, I get Noah. I like him a lot. I think that would be a good fit. But man, I'd like them to get some muscle around Vic. I'd like them to get. That's why I love Brashear there, but I also was like, I don't know if he'll be there.
I mean the
Nominations.
SNJ one could be very interesting.
The what name, Nathan?
Essengay, it could be very interesting. I mean, it depends on, again, if they're in the Giannis sweepstake, it depends on the kind of trade construction they're looking at, right? Because you got to make the money work.
What's the
Even
Essengay
sitting out-
this year?
Like, well, if they trade away Jeremy Sohan, there's not another player on the roster that they have who would be like Essengay. They don't really have any other quote unquote developmental guys on the roster either, so they'd be able to afford him the resources, the time to actually develop them out. They wouldn't necessarily need him to run to the court because they're going to have other veteran options, whether they trade for Giannis or not, that they're probably still going to consider for the rest of the rotation. So I think if you're going to go for a swing, this is one of those teams. That's why I threw out the coward name. I think if you're going to go for a quote unquote swing, this is one of the teams you'd probably do it.
Is there any chance they might sort of split the difference between the two and go with someone like Newell, who's like a good complementary big with at least some size, but maybe not enough to be full-time center?
Yeah, they could do that, Nick.
I like Newell there. He had better numbers today than I thought. So
Yeah.
I think he's
And
the weird one that some teams really like him.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh,
There's
we might
like
be
no in
shocked.
between on him. It's either
Yeah, there's no in
Yeah.
between. Some
They're-
love him.
stay away. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, if San Antonio is one of the teams in the love him bucket, that would be a pretty easy one.
I'll say Asa. I'll do that.
If you have any confidence he could be a survivable center down the road, you could maybe kill two birds with one stone at a little depth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd be confident in him holding up at center for 30 minutes, but for like 12 minutes. Like
If we're
as
going
a-
big, I'm going Danny Wolf here.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
So 2 for Asa, 2 for Danny Wolf.
I'll go Wolf.
No, yeah, let's do Danny Wolf. I'm fine with that.
I'm hungry like the wolf. Let's do it.
Alrighty. All right, that rounds out the lottery. At 1, Dallas Mavericks took Cooper Flagg. Spurs at 2 went Dylan Harper. 76ers at 3, Ace Bailey. Hornets at 4, VJ Edgecombe. Jazz at 5, Con Knippel. Wizards at 6, Derek Queen. Pelicans at 7, Trey Johnson. Brooklyn at 8, Kaman Maluach. Raptors at 9, Carter Bryant. Rockets at 10, Colin Murray Boyles. Trailblazers at 11, Kasparas Yakashonis. Bulls at 12, Thomas Sorber. Hawks at 13, Rasheer Fleming. Spurs at 14, Danny Wolf. Shout out to everyone watching live. This was a blast. Pure chaos, back-to-back years in the lottery. We will have the rest of the mock draft up at NoCeilingsNBA.com. Make sure to go check that out. And No Ceilings Plus subscribers will also get access to this style of video that we do for every mock draft. So also over at the site, we're running a special for this week only. Big discount for No Ceilings Plus subscribers. It's down to just $5 a month or $50 for the entire year. So go over, check that out. You get access to these types of videos for every mock draft, access to our individual rankings, our private Discord, select articles, all that good stuff. But shout out while you're here. Just, click that subscribe button on the YouTube just to make sure you don't miss anything else. But I'm Tyler Metcalf, Nick Agar Johnson, Nathan Grubel, Maxwell Bombach, Stephen Gillespie, Tyler Rucker. Till next time, see ya.